What's up guys, my name is Ace, and DomXL, or Dom100, has been out for a few days now, and I thought it was time for me to share my opinions on how I feel about DomXL versus Dom50. Keep in mind, of course, this whole commentary is going to be my opinions based on my preferences. You're welcome to disagree, and if you do, I encourage you to leave a comment down below and just explain why you disagree. I'd love to see the other side of it, the other perspective on this. But I'm going to start this off by saying I strongly prefer DomXL, or Domination 100. Domination has always been my favorite game mode in Call of Duty. I absolutely love Domination, and I have been playing Dom50 a decent amount since launch, or the regular Domination, and while it is at its core still the same basic structure as Domination, it just felt like it was missing something for me, and this something was the ability to realistically earn some higher end score streaks through regular play without using something like Requisitions. I don't like the fact in Dom50 that to earn a recon plane is going to be a 10 kill streak, or let's just say a 7 kill streak with a home flag and a B flag capture, or a little bit of capture points mixed in there. That's still a lot of score for a simple recon plane. And then when we look at the higher end, if we look at a ball turret gunner, you're earning a V2 rocket before you're earning a ball turret gunner. That to me is just ridiculous. So as I've been playing regular Domination from launch up until DomXL came out, I've always felt that it was kind of a stripped down version of Domination. I still enjoyed it at its core because it had the basic elements of trying to capture the 2 flags and then lock down that map control, and the enemy team has to try and take it back from you. I really enjoy that with Domination. Also, spawns are a lot more predictable, and just in general, I enjoy that overall structure of the mode. However, when you basically eliminate streaks from the equation, unless you're using something like Requisitions, which I really strongly disagree with Requisitions, we'll get into that a little bit later though, I just felt like it was missing that extra layer of when you make a big play or you do something great, I feel you should be rewarded for that. And in Dom50, I rarely saw that reward. It was actually really disappointing a lot of times when I'd earn a recon plane. It just felt like, really? That's all I get for what I just did? Like, I made a really good play there. I captured the flag. I got a bunch of kills while I was capturing and stuff. It felt kind of like a slap in the face with Dom50, at least to me. With DomXL, I feel like it's such a refreshing experience now. When I make a big play and I gain that map control and I get a bunch of kills, I actually have a realistic shot at earning some paratroopers or some flak guns, or maybe even a ball turret gunner if I wanted to, although I don't really like that streak, just using it for example's sake as the highest streak in the game. I have a realistic chance of earning those streaks. And this just adds that extra layer of tension and excitement and enjoyment in the match. I see some people arguing against DomXL, saying that it doesn't encourage objective play. I actually disagree with this. I feel in DomXL, you're actually rewarded even more for gaining that map control and then holding it, which is proper objective play in Domination. The best and most consistent way to win in Domination, and this has always been the case with Domination, is capture 2 flags and hold map control and force the enemies to come to you to try and capture one of those flags back. Usually this is going to be a home flag as well as a B flag, but it does depend a little bit on the layout. In DomXL, it's in your best interest to capture 2 flags and gain that map control, and then after that, you're rewarded for slaying people as they try to push back and try to capture one of the flags. In Dom50, I felt like after I captured those 2 flags, it wasn't enough. I wanted more score, I was getting kind of bored. Yes, you can keep getting kills and slaying people as they come out of spawn, but it doesn't really add up fast enough. It doesn't really help your streak all that much. So if you want a streak, you've got to push for that triple cap. And triple capping is often the worst thing that you can do when you have proper map control and Domination, unless of course you have a really dominant team or an organized party where you can coordinate and control that. But if we're talking in a relatively close match, you gain that map control, you have the 2 flags captured, you don't want to be flipping spawns because you lose your map control, and oftentimes you capture their home flag, but then they capture your home flag as well as the B flag, while also shooting your teammates in the back if your teammates aren't good enough to pay attention to that. So I feel like Dom50 actually encouraged a bit more sloppy objective play rather than good, consistent map control. Of course, that's just my opinion, and I will acknowledge the fact that there are going to be certain players out there that join into DomXL and essentially play it like a team deathmatch game, with no interest whatsoever in flags or the win or anything like that. These players do exist, and they always have in Call of Duty, but the thing is, they're often really easy to counter. If you kill them just once, you basically completely invalidated any of their effectiveness within the game, because first off, they're not helping their team with the objective at all, they're just trying to get their streaks up, and if you kill them off their streak, then basically all of their time and all of their kills were completely wasted because they weren't objectively significant. Now on that same token, it does suck when you get a lot of these guys on your team and they just kind of hang back and spawn and try and build up a streak, But I feel like that's just part of the nature of hopping into an objective game solo. You can't control everything that your team does. You can try to encourage them as much as possible, but players are going to play how they want to play. And if you want a better team, then party up with somebody. It's one of the risks that you take when you hop into a match solo. Speaking of solo play, this is another thing I like about DomXL, is I feel like as a fairly consistent solo player, I actually have a little bit more control over the match, and also I have more tools available to me to help me gain that map control and try to win the game. If I have teammates that aren't pulling their weight, I can relatively consistently throw up a glide bomb, artillery barrage, fighter pilot. I can use those to my advantage to gain that map control by myself if I need to, and try to win the game that way. And at the very least, I can get those streaks to kill some enemies and encourage my teammates to push out. I can try and break a spawn trap that way if the enemy team is quite good and they're trapping my team into their spawn. I feel as though as a good player, I'm rewarded for being able to do something like that and push back against the other team. Now, the next point I wanted to address with both of these domination modes is kind of the elephant in the room, and this is Requisitions. Before DomXL came out, there was a lot of people saying how worried they were for DomXL with Requisitions, because now there's so much score to go around that pretty much any average player out there can earn those higher end streaks, like paratroopers for instance, every single game, no problem whatsoever with Requisitions. I wasn't too convinced that it would be much of an issue, and I honestly feel that DomXL balances Requisitions out a little bit better. The reason behind this is, in Dom50, Requisitions was pretty much the only way to consistently earn something like paratroopers every single game for a good player. In Dom50, if I wanted to earn paratroopers the standard traditional way without Requisitions, I would have had to have a truly exceptional match with an amazing streak mixed in there in order to earn those. Whereas if I put Requisitions on, I can confidently earn paratroopers every single game of Domination 50 that I play. Now yes, I would be classified as an above average player, and not everybody can do that, but for a lot of good players out there, they're thinking like, I want to earn these higher streaks. It's not really realistic for me to earn them consistently any other way, so I'm just going to use Requisitions. With DomXL, a lot of these good players no longer need Requisitions if they want to be earning paratroopers on a relatively consistent basis. And in addition to that, they now have an opportunity of potentially earning those even more than once in a match. One of the big arguments for Requisitions, when everybody was debating about whether or not Requisitions was a good thing, a lot of people were saying Requisitions is fine and balanced because you can only earn the streaks once. To me, that doesn't really hold a lot of weight in Dom50, and the reason behind that is earning those streaks even once the traditional way is an extremely big feat, and earning them more than once would be the game of a lifetime for most players. So Requisitions in Dom50 is the only way to consistently earn those higher end streaks even just once in a match. With DomXL, at least for a lot of the really good players and consistent players, Requisitions isn't very attractive at all, because now we have a realistic shot at earning those higher streaks the standard way, actually going on a streak to earn our streaks. And for the really good players out there, there's a realistic chance of earning them more than once in a game, so Requisitions is not a good choice for them anymore, and they're more likely to use other basic training skills. Now on the other end of that, I have noticed more of the average type players using Requisitions, the type of players that weren't really earning paratroopers with Requisitions very often in Dom50. They're going to be running it more often in DomXL, but as good players, we can more realistically earn flat guns, and this is a key with DomXL. Almost every single game of DomXL I've played, I've had flat guns in my pocket going into the second round. No problem whatsoever. This means that when those average players finally do earn those streaks with Requisitions, I can take them down immediately, and oftentimes several times in a match, because I can usually loop through my flat guns. So overall, I think Requisitions was actually kind of balanced out by DomXL. I'm still not a huge fan of Requisitions because I feel like it devalues those higher end rewards. It makes it so it's not that exciting to get a paratrooper when pretty much anybody can do it every single game they play if they just put Requisitions on. But at the end of the day, I see it as less of an issue in Dom100 than it was in Dom50. So for all of these reasons combined, I strongly prefer DomXL over Dom50. It feels like Domination from the past again. I can realistically go into a game and have that feeling of, I think I can earn these paratroopers this game, or I think I can earn this carpet bomber these games, and I have something that I can actively work towards, rather than Dom50 where I kind of treated streaks as just an extra because the chances of getting them were pretty slim, even some of the lower ones like a glide bomb or an artillery barrage. Like I said, it kind of feels almost like a slap in the face when you earn those in Dom50 because it's like, I worked this hard and that's all I get. Now I feel like I'm actually rewarded for doing good things in a match and keeping a streak going. Now, having said this, I would be totally fine with a compromise here as well. If the community is split on this, I really think they should just go Dom75 with an increase to the objective score. So when you get captures or kills while on the objective, you should get even more score than you currently do, but make it 75 per kill. That would be a fair compromise to me, but if they're going to take a hard stance on just Dom50 versus DomXL, there isn't a doubt in my mind that I prefer Domination XL. And with that, I'd like to know in the comment section below, what do you guys think of this? What do you prefer, DomXL or Dom50? And also, I just want to remind you guys, Sledgehammer is going to be doing a poll on Twitter. I believe they said this coming Tuesday, asking us what we think about DomXL versus Dom50, and this will influence their decision, at least to some degree, on whether or not they're going to be changing the standard domination mode into a Domination 100 mode. So if you have a Twitter, make sure you give Sledgehammer a follow and you do vote in that. No matter which side you're on, even if you like Dom50 and you don't agree with me, make sure you vote, make sure your voice is heard with that, and I'm really interested to see those results. If you enjoyed the video, a like rating is always appreciated, and don't forget to subscribe for more if you haven't already. I'll talk to you guys next time.